Now, I'm not actually opposed to using leather, but I usually am opposed to the leather industry. So I try to use leather alternatives where I can. I mean, I wear a leather jacket and I don't have a problem with it. My boots were hand-me-down, so it's like you can't complain about that. But where you can use something other than leather, I think you should. I don't see, it's not a big macho thing for me. The problem you run into with leather substitutes is things like this. Eh? You see that? It's basically 3 cheap layers glued together. The inside layer is some kind of foam. See? Anyway, this belt served me well for several years, so I can't complain, but now it's hardware. So I'm going to use that for hardware. And speaking of hardware, you think, well, what kind of alternatives are there? Well, for example, here's a good way. Look at the cheap one again. As you can see, it's just flat there. This is another one. This is man-made in layers, but it's also got this stitching, okay, around there. So that's one good sign when you're shopping. You can see, like, hey, that's not going to fall apart on me like Hedgehog's belt did. Another thing is this stuff from Studs and Spikes. They market some really good man-made leather. I'm not sure what it is. It looks like leather, and it's all one layer is the good thing. That's what I like most about it. It's good and durable, and the neat thing is leather has a tendency to stretch when it gets wet. This stuff doesn't, and it's all one layer. So that's pretty handy. Another leather alternative that I'm going to use today is this nylon web to make a bracelet or a wristband like this. And people say, well, that's kind of stupid using nylon. Well, I'm actually not going to have it nylon. This is going to be the filler to hold it together. What I'm going to use is flannel. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, I want the new one because it's going to go on my opposite arm, which is roughly the same size as the other one. I want it to be the same size, so I'm going to use this studded one here that I got from Studs and Spikes as a template, see, to cut it down to the right size. Now this is going to be the first time I ever put snaps on something, so I got this kit from Tandy Leather. Okay, I usually don't endorse companies, but sort of going overboard on studsandspikes.com these days, so I might as well tell you who I get this stuff from. I got it at Hobby Lobby. It comes with a little tool to stamp these snaps into here. Now, I was thinking, well, I can't believe I never done this before, so I went ahead and got it. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to use these little pyramids, which I also got from Hobby Lobby. Okay, moving on. Alright, there we go. I cut it the same size and shape, see? And I went ahead and used my lighter and burnt the edges so it doesn't come unraveled. And now I'm going to get my piece of flannel and do the same thing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it twice as wide so I can fold it over so I got nice clean seams around the edge. You could just cut it the same size, and once you sew it onto this thing, you're going to have it fray around the edges. It depends on the look that you want, I guess. I basically want it to be good and durable and not coming apart at the edges, so I'm going to do it that way. Alright, there's my strip of plaid flannel now, which is the same flannel I used on my pants here. And it comes from the same shirt. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, like I say, fold this underneath, essentially like that, so that it's like that, okay? Now I'm also going to hem it on these sides, and I'm going to end up with a little bit of the nylon at the end, like that. That's how I wanted to do it. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my snaps on and then stud it. So first I got to get this put on here, and for that we're going to use the sewing machine. Okay, now got it all set to sew on there. That's why I'm going to use the sewing machine to zip it on there real quick. Now my secret, the way I got everything to hold on there so level and flat and squared, is I went ahead and ironed it while you weren't watching. Okay, so with no further ado, I'm going to start sewing this on here. Sure it stays nice and straight. I don't want too much of the webbing showing underneath it. Okay, something nice and small like this is going to be easy to just sew all the way around it. So I'm going to go ahead and sew the whole border on there and then come back. Alright, there we go. All sewn on, see? It's got the nylon for backing, but then it's got the flannel plaid on the outside. That's what you're going to end up with. Now, if you wanted to just leave it like this with no studs on it or spikes or anything, spikes, yeah. I was going to put 2 rows of those pyramids. I don't have any room for spikes, so maybe I'll make another one. But what I was going to say is, you might want to go ahead and sew down the middle because it's kind of saggy in there. But since I'm going to be studding it, the studs are going to work like staples to hold it shut. And so next what I want to do is put the snaps on there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Alright, still using this one as a template. I went ahead and marked where my snaps are going to be. You see I got my snaps out. Either way, I used them to help me decide where I'm going to put the holes. And now I'm going to go ahead and put the holes in it. I don't know how well this is going to punch this material, but we're about to find out. Yeesh. Sorta. Going to the next one. Yeah. Eating it through there, that's good. Either way, I'll get it through there. Alright, here I got all my pieces, and I actually got the first one started here. Okay, got the little anvil, and you got this tool. I'm supposed to use a rubber mallet so that I don't damage it. But it doesn't really seem to want to smash in there, you know? So I think I'm going to give it a good crack with the best one. Seeing that? No, okay. There, I got the snap on there. Whether or not it's going to stay put, we'll have to see. It looks like it. Check this out, what works much better, put it on the concrete floor instead of like on a counter surface. See, bing. So I'm going to go back and fix up my other ones. Alright, I ended up with that. They're not incredibly straight. And I should have put them a little further apart. I was judging them by these ones, which are smaller. See? I'm gonna get the damn light on, I swear. You see how little those are there? Mine are a bit bigger, the ones from Tandy Leather. Anyway, let's see if it fits. I'm gonna take. Yeah, it does fit. It's not as snug as I was afraid it would be. You know what, too? You could use something like that underneath your watch. But not this because it's too loose. Anyway, now I'm going to go ahead and put the pyramids on it. Alright, here it is. That's what I ended up with. I had the idea to put the spikes on there while I was working on it. I noticed too, as I put the pyramid studs on there, it shrunk up a little bit because the little pyramid studs, I guess, clamped together and kind of draw it in on itself. So it's a little bit tighter than what it used to be before I put the studs on it. So I'm all done, and that's my show for today. Please send all comments about how awesome I am to this address.